We are going to start our webinar in 2 minutes. Hello, everybody. We are going to start in 1 minute. So we see that people are coming in. We are also broadcasting this session on the YouTube. So we just also started the YouTube session. We are going to start momentarily. We are going to talk about using real industry software application in accounting classes. We'll be talking about the M3 AccKnowledge, which is an accounting software for hotels to be able to use this in accounting classes. I'm just going to double check to see if YouTube is working. Perfect. Wonderful. So welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Jihan Chobanoğlu. I'm the McKibbin and Dodd Chair Professor at the University of South Florida. Also here with me, I have Dr. Gunja Malan-Rush. Gunja, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
So we are going to be talking to you about, and also at the same time, just want to make sure that we don't have anybody in the waiting room. So thank you to those of you who are here. We appreciate, oh, okay, I see the waiting room, which just comes here. So more people are joining. Oh, wonderful. Perfect. So we will be talking about the using a real industry software application in accounting classes, as we have said. So first of all, I would like to just tell you that this particular software is offered from University of South Florida, the M3 Center for Hospitality Technology and Innovation. And I also would like to talk a little bit about myself. As I have said, I'm the McKibbin and Dodd Chair Professor and also the director of the M3 Center. Dr. Gunja Malan-Rush was actually one of my students. Very proud to say that she actually had her master's degree at the University of South Florida in the hospitality management. And after the master's, she has completed her PhD in education. So she became a doctor, and now she works in a private company as in the area of educational design. So I'll actually give the floor to Gunja a little bit later so she can tell you a little bit about what she does in her day-to-day life. So what is M3 Center? You may be having this question in your mind. M3 Center is, as I said, is the research center for hospitality, technology, and innovation at the University of South Florida. This particular center was created with the multi-million dollar gift that Mr. John McKibben has given to our university. So we are grateful to him. But it was not just the money that he has donated. Also, just like what we are doing this webinar, that he has also given his company's resources to make this partnership even more. The M3 name comes from one of his companies, which is actually, we will be talking in a second about this. So that partnership is still going on. It's not just one of these things that, okay, I donate money, you can do whatever you want to do about this. It's actually a continuation of relationship. So we really very grateful to him. What does M3 Center do? Very quickly, so that you understand, we distribute software applications just like this one. We also have two other software applications that we distribute. One of them is actually this M3 AccKnowledge accounting software. We also will be doing this M3 Insight, which used to be M3 Link, which is a business intelligence software. So that's being changed right now. A new version of it is coming, and we will be actually distributing that one as well too, again. So we have been doing that. And also we have Inroad property management system. So that's for hotels, check-in and check-outs. We do a lot of webinars just like this one. We just finished literally 5 minutes ago with a speaker under the umbrella of M3 Center. If you go to youtube.com/M3 Center, you can see all of these guest speakers that we have, and we usually record them and make it available for public free of charge. Research studies, we also host visiting scholars, perform think tanks, and we publish open access journals. Actually, there are 3 journals that we publish as an open access, 100% open access, and also books. You can go to m3center.org and find links to all of these things that I just said. Okay, without further ado, let me just tell you what we are trying to do here, teaching with technology. I've been actually teaching with technology for many, many years. I am not a computer scientist myself, but I have been using technology in my classes. And the main philosophy for this, the main reason that I am doing this is because I feel that if you were to use technology in a class and you use this, you teach this to the students, it is actually similar to teaching somebody how to drive with, let's say, Ford on the left. And then if this person goes into Toyota, is that different car? Yes. Are there some differences how you operate it? Absolutely, yes. Maybe the headlights on the right in one car, on the other one is on the other left. Maybe the shift is on a different place, but doesn't matter. What really the idea is that once the person gets to practice with driving one car, for him or her to learn to drive another car, the time goes down substantially, significantly. For that reason, it's a great idea. At least that's what I believe. And that's why I'm advocating this idea. Sometimes people say, oh, if you teach one technology, by the time students graduate, that technology will change. Yes, that's correct. Usually 4 years is a long time for technology. It will change. However, what will not change is the main components. Plus, when you are actually teaching with technology, you are enforcing some of the theoretical concepts in that class. For that reason, at least for the last 20 years that I'm a professor, that I have found a great particular satisfaction with my students. And hence, when we were creating M3 Center, we wanted to have this particular idea of sharing technology applications, and there's many different ones, but here we are going to talk about one of them. So okay, we talked about M3 Center. Let me just tell you very quickly what M3 company is. M3 is actually a commercial company. It's a real company. You can go to m3as.com and you can find that this company provides accounting services. As a matter of fact, it can even do the accounting for you. But the main idea, again, remember we have talked about John McKibben, who's normally a hotelier. He has the McKibben Hospitality Group that operates hundreds of hotels. This company actually was created, the accounting portion of it and the business intelligence portion of it was created because of his need to be able to manage his hotels. Then later, this turned to a mainstream company. They have more than 6,000 hotels, as you can see. They are using their services as a cloud-based accounting system, business intelligence, accounting services, and there is many other services that they do. So basically, they are a data company. This is how I can say that. And also, when nobody even know anything about cloud services or cloud computing or cloud-based software, actually M3 was doing that. So they started as a cloud-based company, and they offer accounting core, which they call AccKnowledge, ACC Knowledge. That's where the name comes, accounting knowledge. As I said, this is a data company. So it is currently used in thousands of hotels around the world. And this particular core is actual software that, so at the end of this webinar, if you are watching this live or from the recording, if you are teaching accounting or finance courses or any other related courses, not in hospitality courses only, but in a general accounting departments, and if you would like to utilize this software, we are happy to work with you for you to adopt and integrate into your classes. And the best part of it is 100% free of charge. We do not charge a dime to the students or faculty members. You know, the idea also, I'm going to turn to Gunje in a second, but before I do that, I would like to just tell you that when I'm a faculty member, if somebody were to come to me and say that, okay, use this industry software in your classes, I would be just like taken aback, because for me to be able to learn that software, integrate into my classes, create assignments that will align with my other course topics is going to take a lot of time. So we have actually taken this work out of your work. What we have done, we thought like we are a faculty member that would like to adopt this particular software. And in the other two software applications, it's the same. So we have created exercises, we have created assignments, and along with the instructions, so that if you were to integrate this, your students can actually self-teach themselves this software. So without further ado, I would like to introduce now Gunje Malanrash for to tell us a little bit about more. First, maybe tell a little bit about herself, what she does in her daily life. And I'm grateful to her because she graduated several years ago, but she still supports this program. So I would like to thank her publicly one more time for doing what she's doing and really helping all of the students around the world, which these software applications, by the way, are used in many different universities all around the world. Gunje, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jihan. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Just a little bit of an introduction about me. So as Dr. Jihan mentioned, I do have a tourism and hospitality background, but by the time I graduated, I took a little bit of a different shift and I went into education, and I got my doctoral degree in curriculum and instruction, which was a great segue to this project, because when I was working on this project, I was actually getting my master's, and I really enjoy the aspect of creating curriculum based on a specific example. And this probably helped me also to get into my PhD program because it was in my application letter. But Just so right now I'm working as a senior instructional designer at a corporate company. We have our own reinforcement program, a portal that we created. It's a web-based portal where we actually create and help people create their own trainings, and we host the trainings. So I am a instructional designer, but also a very strong hospitality and tourism, I guess, personality too. I am from originally a town called Antalya from Turkey, which makes a lot of their revenue based on hospitality and tourism. So I do love the connection of that too. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, Dr. Jihan, and take them to the. Um, I'm gonna show a couple things. Please let me
Yes.
know when you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see your screen, Gunjay. Yep.
Perfect. So what we did with this is our website so this is a public website where we share all the assignment and instructions for everybody, whoever is available. Just to show you a couple things, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this page for now so I can talk about the software and you can actually see what I'm talking about. What we did with this is what I was trying to do is I was actually trying to create exercises based on the most common things that students have to go through in an accounting course, but I also wanted to make it related to hospitality. So what we did is, so there's a total of 9 assignments. The first one is we made it an assignment, but it's actually to help students learn how to actually log into the software, create a folder to export the upcoming assignments, and just to understand how the software works. And then we created different roles, and with each assignment students take a different role and they do different action items, if I may say. So for example, we have 2 daily report task assignments. So these are basically a way for students to enter revenue. In the first one, they're doing a front desk clerk. So the basic tasks that they're doing is they're posting room revenues and they're calculating tax based on the prices that they're being given. In the next one, the same assignment, but it's a little bit more complicated. This time they're getting the role of a night auditor, and they're doing again the room revenue posting. We're adding some sales. So there are some restaurant sales, the other sales that they can do, and then different revenue items that they can actually post throughout the system. And then finally, they're obviously finishing the revenue part with the calculation of the tax. And then we're taking them to within the functionality of the system, moving them to an invoice entry where they become a general manager, where this time they have to pay their vendors. With those, so they're creating their own entries within the system. So they have to create an invoice and then they have to make the payments for that particular invoice. And then, so there are 3 parts of that, which is very similar role. We're also teaching them something called amortization. This was a very hard task for me to understand, but there is a specific function within this particular software that does amortization. So this was a great segue to my own pain to help me understand and basically to move through the software, but also understand the logic of amortization. And then one of the main tasks, obviously, when we do go through in accounting software is everybody wants to run an income statement or they want to do their balance sheet. So the idea behind this particular program was because we're using an accounting software in the real world, if we usually really had a hotel, we would have a point of sale system where all the revenue would be recorded and would be transferred to your accounting system automatically. You wouldn't have to do it manually, although there will be some transactions that will require some manual entry. But then you would also have your reservation systems, the central reservation system that will push through the room bookings, which will be your room reservation. If a guest spends any money on a restaurant or they go use the spa, those will be calculated through their room card. So those would be all automated. But in our case, because we don't have a connected POS system or a central reservation system, so all these transactions has to be done manually by the student for us to be able to create those end statements, which is the income statement and a balance sheet. So how it works is for each student, they are being assigned a property in a company. So think about these as, so you're being given in a hotel with all bunch of entries that you're supposed to do. And the end goal for you is to be able to run a balance sheet and an income statement. With this, just to go back, so the website design in a way that, so there are step-by-step instructions with the examples. So the instructions cover how this example would be done and completed in the software. And then there are assignments which are very similar to the example questions, but they have different numbers in them. So for example, if one of them says the room revenue is 1200, the assignment has a different number. So the idea is through the step-by-step instructions, students are supposed to, I'm just going to open one of the PDFs. They're supposed to actually learn where to enter in the particular area in the software, the specific revenue, and then once they open the assignment themselves, they know exactly where to go. So with these screenshots, so there's obviously the explanation of where they need to go, what they need to do, and then there's specific screenshots that's showing them where that particular revenue needs to be posted. And then when they come to the assignments, all they have to do is grab the number from the assignment, meaning whatever they're being asked to enter as a revenue, and they would go and find the correct place that they are supposed to enter this. Each assignment comes with objective. They also have a little story that they all start with. So the idea behind these were just to bring the student into an environment where they can actually practice different functionality of the program, but they get to use a real accounting software. There are different things over here on the website that you can check at any time. As I said, this is a public website that's available to you. There is also frequently asked questions that you can reach out. I'm going to go ahead and show the software really quick. So just to take you back to the login page, this particular software, as we mentioned before, so this is actually a cloud-based software, and it works with a plugin called Citrix. So I don't know if you guys can see it as you see from here. So even though it's a website that we're trying to log in, because it's cloud-based, we're using Citrix to log in. The only requirement is only for the first time that you're using a device, you have to use the you have to download this plugin called Citrix. And once you do that, you don't have to do it any other time. So this is the login page. In order to go into Accounting Core, you just double click on these three lines, and then it opens up. So here is how the software looks like. As I mentioned before, I'm just going to click on it one more time. So each student is being assigned. So this is what I call the company level, where the student will be running their balance sheet. And this is the property level, where they will run their final income statement assignment, and they will work on every single assignment. So once you're in the property level, so these are all different functions that you can use. But for the purpose of our assignment, so we're using the daily report, accounts payable, general ledger, and account receivable, and also the financial wizard. So everything else, they're just here for student to have access, but we don't actually have an assignment for them. So just to show you how easy it is, um, you click on the software. This is actually one of the students who actually worked on it already. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can change. Here we go. There's an assignment already here. So you hit edit, and it looks like a very old version of an Excel file. So it's very user friendly just to see through different boxes from here. So students would come to M3 University website, open up their assignments or step-by-step instructions, depending on what you prefer. And then they will read the question. They will say, okay, so they're supposed to sold 15 rooms, $95 each. Okay, so 15 times 95, and then they would enter. So let's say this is supposed to be transient room revenue, and then they would find the transient room revenue and enter the amount. Move on to the next one. And then it would say there are 5 double rooms, $80 per room. Here's the answer. So this was supposed to be their group room revenue. Okay, perfect. So there's the government room, there's the group room. So depending on which one students pick, you enter the revenue. Here's the 400, and move on to the next question. And then there is a room sales tax. So normally this is the part I was mentioning. So if this entry, this reservation was coming from the your central reservation system, this would be automatically entered, the tax would be automatically calculated, but in our case, unfortunately, it has to be entered manually. So you would find the tax collection. The next question would be the 7% of the room sales. So you would find the room sales and calculate 7% of 1825 and enter it over here. So going back to the website, what it does is basically by walking students through the different scenarios, as I said, so this was, even though this is an accounting software, this was based on hospitality. So we use a lot of hotel examples. We use a lot of applications for like room revenue, sales tax, restaurant sales, just to help students get into the groove of, okay, so what spendings a guest can do in a hotel and which part of it that needs to go into your accounting so that you can generate some revenue, you can pay some invoices, pay your vendors, and then at the end of the day, okay, so what's in your income statement, how much money you made, what's your revenues, and then when you run your balance statement, the balance sheet, you look at, okay, so how much money I started with, how much money I paid during the year, and what's the end result. So I remember when I was taking my hospitality accounting course, we had to, in my last final exam, we had to create our balance sheet and income statement in the final exam by hand, writing all the numbers and calculating like debits and credits and everything and moving from liabilities and looking at my equity and everything. So with this, the idea is just to give students how to actually, I'm going to open one more, how to run the same exact task, but using a real accounting software so that we can actually show them how it would function. The I guess the beauty of this is we're making students familiar with a particular software. We're also teaching them, if it was in the real world, how their entries and their incomes and their specific spendings would affect their sheet. So with the, especially with the income statement and balance sheet, there are some actually questions that requires them. So it asks them, so if you were to make more room revenue, or if you want to make more revenue, would you try to sell more rooms with cheaper price, or would you want to sell less rooms with higher price? So it also asks them, so makes them think, so like which one would be more profitable. That also a good aspect. Also, it's always, to me, especially as a student, when I was a student, it always better to see something that's running from a machine that's in front of me with all the entries versus if I have to write this by hand, especially in an exam. So that helps really too. This is the example from the balance sheet. So we also added some particular ratio, so like the questions that they should know, like formulas. So for example, we have current ratio, quick ratio. So we're also trying to reinforce the information that they're learning in their accounting books through the chapters that they're covering for the balance sheet. So they're also practicing that information. So they're not also being exposed to the same information. This formula is obviously everywhere. They can find it in their book too, but they're also being asked the same question. So hopefully as they're completing these assignments, the idea is even though they can point out what those numbers are exactly, so it's a simple math calculation at that point, but it's also reinforcing their knowledge so that they're learning the specific entries. I'm gonna scroll down. I'm actually gonna go back to, so I should probably show some questions. There are, for those of you, if you have time, please feel free to check the questions. As I said, each one of the assignments and each one of the exercise, the examples comes with its own objectives. It's usually, as I said, the difference between the task example and the assignment is the numbers we use. So the revenue numbers or the, I guess the however much we're saying, if in one of them it says the room revenue is $90, the other one says 120. So the idea is by looking at the exercise, they're supposed to understand how to enter that information into the software, but replicate the actions with the new numbers that are posted in the assignment. There is also lots of explanation in terms of these screenshots in terms of, so like we explain what particular entries that they're supposed to make. I'm going to go ahead and click on, I should stay over here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. So as I mentioned before, each one of them has a little scenario, but also each one of them has specific action. So what I try to do is I try to make an item for each action that they're supposed to take to complete this assignment. And from the questions, if you move on to the PDF instructions, each instruction, it doesn't matter where you start, they all start with how to log in part. So they all have this where to download Citrix if they're starting from any part of the assignment. But in order for you to be able to run, so if your purpose by using the software is to get to income statement and balance sheet, then I would recommend going in order. But if you don't care about your income statement or balance sheet, if you don't care about these two assignments, then you can start from any order. We also provide answer sheets for each one of these assignments. So if you decide to adopt this particular software and to use it in your classroom, what we would do is we would ask you to submit your roster to us with your students' emails and their names, and then we would create accounts for each one of them. And then once you start running this particular program, I would be sending you the answer sheets for each one of these assignments. So it's at the end of each assignment, it's usually a couple pages or 1 or 2 pages of a PDF that they can run from the software that they would be submitting to your learning management system as part of this assignment. And then I would be providing you the same PDF with the correct answer. So you would just look at the differences between the answer sheet that I provided and what your students submitted. And then that's a very quick check. As I said, as long as you don't care about these last two assignments, you can use as many as you want, or you can use, so some faculty members actually have these step-by-step versions done in the classroom with them, and then they assign the assignments as homeworks. So the faculty goes through the step-by-step instruction in the classroom with the student so that they understand how to log in, they understand what to do with that particular assignment. And then when they go home, they do the assignment. Some faculty members just provides this website and then ask the student go through the PDF by themselves. And then they just give them the assignment, say, hey, at week 2, you're going to be completing daily report 1. And then student would complete the assignment and just export the PDF and then send it to them. So just to show you very quickly, so let's say this is our saved assignment. I'm going to go ahead and save. You hit print. And then there is this, so there are two options. You can either, students can either email. So it would put a PDF version of the assignment. They can email this themselves and then get the form from the email. Or I'm going to go ahead and do the export. Ooh, actually, or they can do export and it will export a PDF. I'm going to have to go to a different company. Let me do that really quick. Just to show you. So this is how the login works, by the way. So that's what you're looking at. The little Citrix icon, it launches. I'm going to go ahead and put it over here. So the application is starting.
And Gunjay, there is instructions for the students, right? How to do these things. So the faculty member doesn't necessarily have to teach that in the class. They can refer the
Correct.
student to the website for the tutorial.
Correct. So the faculty can choose to be as involved as they want to be, or they can be not involved at all. I am going to go ahead and use this. I'm just trying to see. Okay, here we go. So this is how the export function would work. When they hit export, it says it's going to be a PDF, and we'll say okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and find that PDF now. It is right here. So here you go. So this is what you would be receiving from your students, and then my answer sheet would have the right answers. So all you would have to do is just go through this document and look for the numbers that they're supposed to have. And what we did is we basically created budgets for each one of these assignments. And at the end of the day, when they run their income statement balance sheet, so every single student, because they're starting with the same budget, and if they do every single entry correctly, they're all supposed to have the same numbers in their income statement and balance sheet. There are a couple times where they might have like entered the revenues in the wrong spaces. So like instead of entering in the government room revenue, if they entered in the group, then when they run the income statement, obviously the incomes will be in the revenues would be showed in the different places. But those are minor things that doesn't even matter as long as they are able to calculate the especially for the balance sheet, I guess, because they're supposed to calculate some ratios. As long as they're able to calculate those, it shouldn't be a problem. Is there any questions I can answer? I know I just throw a lot of information.
Thank you so much. And if you have any questions from our participants, feel free to ask, unmute your microphone if you have. If not, um, I also would like to just share this information with you that if any of you would like to adopt this software for your classes, you can email Gunje directly at gunje@gmalan.com, or you can reach out to me at Jihan, as you can see here, CIHAN at usf.edu. Again, the university, M3 University website that Gunje has shown to you is here, M3 University. You can look to get more information. We wanted to make this as short as possible for you. But what I would like to just tell you is that, again, this is something that if you are thinking about using it next semester, we will be happy to show that to you. Maybe you can email, not necessarily adopt, but we can create an account for you. You can play by yourself, kind of like in the role of a student. And if this is something that you feel it's going to be beneficial to the students, we are encouraging you to utilize this. One more time, we have said this many times because usually it's not the case like this, that this software is free of charge. Again, thanks to the M3 Center, which is created with the donation from Mr. John McKibben. So this is how we can make this available actually to you. And of course, the M3 company, M3AS company, for their support for giving us all the resources that they are doing it. If there is no any other question, Gunjit, is there anything in closure you want to make any comments before we close the session?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for their time, and hopefully I will hear from some of you, and I will get to work with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Gunja. Also, again, one more time to you for your countless efforts for this software to make this educational experience for many, many people around the world. We thank you for those of you who participate live. And I know that there are some of you joining us from YouTube, but many of you couldn't join right now. So we will send you this link that will be able to watch it later. Have a wonderful day. We hope to see you in our other webinars that we are going to also cover similar other software that we are distributing from the M3 Center. Have a wonderful day.